Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Storytime Tales, your cozy English conversation podcast where you can relax, listen, and slowly build confidence in real English.
We're really happy you're here today. Whether you're listening at home, on the bus, or during a break, this podcast is your safe place to practice English without pressure.
And before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through natural conversations, please take a moment to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who is also learning English.
It really helps more learners find us, and it motivates us to keep creating these conversations for you.
All right, Lily, let me ask you something honestly. Do you ever feel like you know English, but when it's time to speak, your mind suddenly feels very busy and very quiet at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. It's such a strange feeling because inside your head you have ideas, sentences, even opinions, but when you want to speak, nothing comes out.
Exactly. It's like your brain is working too hard and your mouth just freezes.
And if you're listening right now and thinking, that sounds like me, don't worry, you're definitely not alone.
In fact, today's episode is all about that exact problem, overthinking, and how it stops us from speaking English.
And please stay with us until the end of this episode because we have a small speaking challenge and a vocabulary recap that can really help you move forward.
You know, Lily, this topic came to my mind yesterday when I was trying to send a simple voice message in English.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, I recorded the message, then I deleted it. Then I recorded it again and deleted it again.
I already know where this is going.
Yes, I kept thinking maybe I should say it differently, or what if my grammar is wrong, or what if I sound strange?
That's such a common experience for English learners.
After 10 minutes, I realized something important. I wasn't struggling with English, I was struggling with fear.
That's a powerful realization. Fear often hides behind grammar and vocabulary.
Yes, and the fear wasn't loud, but it was very strong. It was telling me, stay quiet, don't make a mistake.
Many learners don't notice this, but overthinking is usually connected to fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of being judged, or fear of sounding not good enough.
And the strange thing is, we don't have this problem in our first language.
That's true. In your native language, you don't stop to think about grammar. You just speak.
Exactly, but in English, suddenly every sentence feels like a test.
And that's the first thing we want to change today. Speaking English is not a test, it's communication.
Lily, do you remember a time when overthinking stopped you from speaking?
Yes, I remember very clearly. I was in a group conversation with people speaking English very fast.
That already sounds stressful.
It was. I understood most of what they were saying, but I kept thinking, what if I interrupt at the wrong moment? Or what if my sentence sounds strange?
So what did you do?
I stayed quiet. I smiled, nodded, and listened, but I didn't speak.
And how did that feel afterward?
Honestly, I felt disappointed in myself. Not because my English was bad, but because I didn't even try.
That feeling is something many learners know very well.
Yes, and the problem is that learners can't speak. The problem is that they don't allow themselves to speak.
That's such an important sentence. They don't allow themselves.
Exactly. Their English is under construction, but they expect it to be perfect.
So overthinking is really about wanting everything to be perfect before opening your mouth.
Yes, and perfectionism is very heavy for the brain.
It's like waiting for the perfect moment to speak, but that moment never comes.
That's a great way to describe it. You keep waiting, and the conversation moves on without you.
And if you're listening right now and thinking, that's me, I want you to know something.
You don't need perfect English to speak. You just need real English.
And real English is sometimes slow, sometimes simple, and sometimes imperfect.
But it's alive, and when you speak, even a little, you grow.
So now that we understand why overthinking stops us from speaking, the next question is, how do we start speaking anyway, even when fear is still there?
That's exactly what we'll explore next, with simple ideas and real examples that you can use today.
You know, Lily, the more we talk about overthinking, the more I realize that fear of mistakes is really at the center of everything.
I completely agree with you, Sam. Most English learners don't stay silent because they don't know what to say. They stay silent because they're afraid of saying it wrong.
Yes, and that fear feels very real. It's not just in the mind, it's in the body too.
Exactly. When someone wants to speak but feels afraid, their body reacts. Their heart beats faster, their thoughts race, and suddenly speaking feels dangerous.
I felt that many times. I knew the sentence in my head, but my mouth just wouldn't move.
That happens because your brain is trying to protect you. It thinks making a mistake is something to avoid.
So why does the brain see mistakes as such a big problem?
For many learners, it comes from school experiences. Mistakes were corrected immediately, sometimes publicly, and often with pressure.
That's true. In school, mistakes felt embarrassing.
Yes, so the brain learns a rule. If I make a mistake, something bad will happen.
And later, when we try to speak English, that old rule is still there.
Exactly. Even if no one is judging you now, your brain remembers that feeling.
That explains why even simple sentences can feel stressful.
Yes, because the fear is not about English, it's about safety.
So when learners stay quiet, they feel safe.
Very safe, but also stuck.
That's the hardest part. Silence feels comfortable, but it doesn't help you improve.
Exactly. Growth always feels a little uncomfortable at first.
I remember a time when I chose silence instead of speaking. After the conversation ended, I kept thinking about all the things I could have said.
That feeling stays with you longer than a small mistake ever would.
Yes, a mistake lasts a moment, but regret lasts much longer.
That's such an important idea for learners to understand.
So, Lily, do you think native speakers care that much about mistakes?
Honestly, no, they don't.
Really?
Really, most native speakers are focused on meaning, not grammar. If they understand you, they're happy.
That's very comforting to hear.
And remember, native speakers also make mistakes in their own language.
That's true. I've heard plenty of native speakers correct themselves while talking.
Exactly. Mistakes are part of natural speech.
So the problem isn't making mistakes. The problem is being afraid of them.
Yes, and once learners understand this, something starts to change.
What kind of change?
They stop asking, is this sentence perfect, and start asking, does this sentence communicate my idea?
That's a huge shift.
It really is, because communication is the real goal of language.
I've noticed that when I focus on sharing my idea instead of my grammar, speaking feels easier.
That's exactly what happens. Your brain relaxes when the goal is meaning, not perfection.
So fear of mistakes is like a mental wall.
Yes, and every time you speak, even with a mistake, you create a small crack in that wall.
And eventually the wall comes down.
Exactly, but only if you keep speaking.
So now we know that fear of mistakes controls silence, but the next question is, how do we speak even when the fear is still there?
That's what we'll explore next, with very practical ideas you can actually use in daily conversations.
You know, Lily, after talking about fear and mistakes, something feels very clear to me now. Many learners are waiting for confidence before they speak.
Yes, and that's one of the biggest misunderstandings about speaking English.
What do you mean?
Confidence doesn't come first. Confidence comes after you speak.
So, waiting to feel confident is like waiting for something that only appears later.
Exactly. It's like saying, I'll swim when I'm no longer afraid of water. But the only way to lose fear is to get into the water.
That makes so much sense. When I think about it, I didn't feel confident in my first English conversations at all.
Most people don't. They feel nervous, unsure, and a little uncomfortable.
I remember my first real conversation in English. My hands were cold and I was speaking very slowly.
But you still spoke.
Yes, and after that conversation, I felt proud even though my English wasn't perfect.
That pride is where confidence begins.
So confidence grows from action, not from thinking.
Exactly. Thinking alone doesn't change anything. Speaking does.
I think many learners imagine confident speakers as people who are never nervous.
That's not true. Confident speakers are people who speak even when they are nervous.
That changes how I see confidence completely.
It should. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to speak anyway.
So, how can learners start speaking if fear is still there?
They start small, very small.
Can you give an example?
Instead of trying to say a long sentence, they say one short, honest sentence.
Something like, I feel a bit nervous, but I want to try.
That's a perfect example. It's simple, real, and easy to say.
I like that because it removes pressure.
Yes, short sentences give your brain space to relax.
I noticed that when I try to sound very advanced, my fear increases.
That's because complexity adds pressure. Simplicity removes it.
So, speaking English well doesn't mean speaking English in a complicated way.
Exactly. It means speaking clearly and honestly.
I once met someone who spoke very simple English, but everyone enjoyed talking to them.
That's because communication is about connection, not perfection.
Connection feels much more important than grammar in real life.
It always is.
What about situations where learners feel pressure, like meetings or group conversations?
In those situations, reaction sentences are very helpful.
Reaction sentences.
Yes, short responses like, I see what you mean, or that makes sense, or I agree with that.
Those feel much easier than sharing a long opinion.
And they still count as speaking.
So even small reactions help break the silence.
Exactly. Once you speak once, speaking again becomes easier.
It's like opening a door that was stuck.
Yes, the first push is the hardest.
I think learners often judge themselves too quickly.
They do. They forget that progress is built from many small moments.
So every short sentence is a step forward.
Always.
And once learners experience that speaking doesn't cause disaster, their fear slowly loses power.
That's when speaking starts to feel lighter and more natural.
I feel like this part is very important for listeners to understand.
Yes, you don't need to feel ready. You just need to begin.
If you're listening right now and waiting to feel confident, maybe today's the day you stop waiting.
Because confidence is not waiting for you in the future. It's built by what you do today.
So now that we know how to speak before confidence, the next step is learning how to practice in a safe, low-pressure way.
That's what we'll talk about next, with simple ideas you can use in your daily life.
So now that we know how to speak before confidence, the next step is learning how to practice in a safe, low-pressure way.
Yes, because practice doesn't have to feel scary or stressful. In fact, the best practice often happens in very normal moments.
I really like that idea. Many learners think practice means exams, classrooms, or serious conversations.
But real progress often comes from everyday life, simple moments where there is no judgment.
That makes sense. When pressure is low, fear becomes smaller.
Exactly. And when fear is smaller, your voice feels more free.
So let's talk about what low-pressure practice actually looks like.
One of the easiest ways is talking to yourself.
Talking to yourself?
Yes, it may feel strange at first, but it's very powerful.
How does that help?
When you talk to yourself, there is no audience. No one is judging your grammar or your accent.
So your brain feels safe.
Exactly. You can describe what you are doing, how you feel, or what you plan to do next.
Like saying, I am making coffee now, or today feels a bit busy.
Yes, those are perfect examples. Simple, real, and useful English.
That feels much easier than trying to speak perfectly.
Because it is easier, and it helps your mouth get used to English sounds.
I remember doing this while walking alone. At first, I felt silly, but later it felt natural.
That's very common. Your confidence grows quietly in those moments.
What about practicing with other people?
That's also important, but it should feel safe. A friend, a language partner, or someone who understands you are learning.
So, not someone who corrects every small mistake.
Exactly. Constant correction can make people silent again.
So, the goal is communication, not correction.
Yes, mistakes are part of the process.
I've noticed that when people feel accepted, they speak more.
That's because safety creates courage.
And courage creates practice.
Exactly.
What about very small moments in daily life?
Those are actually the best moments. Ordering food, saying hello, asking a simple question.
Even saying, "How's your day going?" counts.
Yes, every sentence you speak is a step forward.
It's interesting how small steps feel unimportant, but they add up.
That's how real change happens, quietly, slowly, and consistently.
You know, Lily, another big part of this is how learners talk to themselves inside their head.
Yes, the inner voice matters a lot.
Honestly, many learners say things like, "My English is bad," or "I can't speak."
And those sentences make speaking harder.
So maybe learners can change those sentences.
Yes, instead of "my English is bad," they can say "my English is improving."
That feels much kinder,
And much more true.
because improvement happens every time you try.
Even one sentence is progress.
So before we finish today, let's give our listeners a small challenge.
Yes, something simple and doable.
Today, say one real sentence in English out loud. Just one.
It can be to yourself, to a friend, or even as a voice note on your phone.
It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real.
And if you want, you can write in the comments one sentence you spoke today.
We really love reading your comments, and they help us understand you better.
And you're never alone in this journey.
Before we go, let us ask you something.
What topic would you like us to talk about next?
Daily life conversations, work English, or speaking English with confidence?
Tell us in the comments. Your ideas help shape this podcast.
Thank you for spending this time with us today.
Keep talking, even if it's just one small sentence.
This was English Storytime Tales.
We'll see you in the next episode.